we seeing a return to the worship of Molech in our day? This is Barry Phillips, attending toward day number 5 of the Torah portion Kedoshim. Let's go to Leviticus, Vikram, chapter number 20, and read the first 5 verses, beginning with verse 1. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Say to the children of Israel, any man of the children of Israel, or any of the strangers who sojourn in Israel, who give any of his offspring to Molech, shall certainly be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. And I shall set my face against that man, and shall cut him off from the midst of his people, because he has given of his offspring to Molech, so as to defile my set-apart place, and to profane my set-apart name. And if the people of the land at all hide their eyes from the man, as he gives any of his offspring to Molech, and they do not kill him, then I shall set my face against that man and against his clan, and shall cut him off, and all who go whoring after him, even go whoring after Molech, from the midst of the people. What in the world is the worship of Molech? And why would anybody engage in it if Yah hates it so bad? There are a variety of various gods and demons and idols that people worship in ancient days. The Ammonites, the Moabites, the Canaanites, they all had their particular deities that they reverenced. And we might think, well, they just had a shrine with a statue in it and some kind of weird priest or priestess officiating some weird ceremonies and blowing powder and smoke around and lighting candles and such. I'm afraid it was a lot more insidious and horrible than that. There's a lot of archaeology and research that suggest the Molech was a hollowed out god in which was the interior heated up with a blazing fire, and to this brazen image became red in its glowing form. It was the form of a human being with its arms outstretched, and then the face of a calf or some other kind of animal. It is said then that the people who would offer their offspring would bring them as an infant, perhaps, and lay them in the glowing red arms of this idol, offering it through its death to this god behind the idol, all the while frenzied drums, dancing, and music and screams of the people drowned out the terror of the child. In modern day, we have scholars who say, well, no, they really didn't do that. That's fanciful. That's not really scripturally correct. And they try to suggest a way, well, they created a path of fire, or a path on which fire was on both sides, and sons or daughters were made to walk the path, after which they were then initiated into some version of pagan priesthood, and that's all that there was to it. What does the word say? Well, if we go to the book of Jeremiah, and in chapter 19, verse 5, it's talking about Yehuda saying that they have built the high places of Baal to burn their sons with fire for ascending offerings to Baal, which I did not command or speak, nor did it come into my mind. They burned their sons as a sacrifice, it says. In the book of Psalms, if I can get there. One moment. In the book of Psalms, chapter 106, beginning with verse 37. And they slaughtered their sons and their daughters to demons. They slaughtered them. Not just made them pass through a fire, they slaughtered them to demons. And they served their idols, and they became a snare to them. And they slaughtered their sons and their daughters to demons. They shed innocent blood, the blood of their sons and daughters, whom they slaughtered to the idols of Canaan, and the land was defiled with blood. That's not walking through a path. That's offering your child as a living sacrifice. In the book of Ezekiel, in chapter number 23, beginning with verse 36, Yahweh said to me, Son of man, judge Olah and Oholibah, and declare to them their abominations, for they have committed adultery, and blood is on their hands. And they have committed adultery with their idols, and even offered their sons, whom they bore to me, passing them through the fire to devour them. And they did this also to me. They have defiled my set-apart place on the same day, and they profaned my Shabbats. For when they have slain, they killed their children for their idols. On the same day they came into my set-apart place to profane it. And see, this is what they did in the midst of my house. Ezekiel says that they not only slaughtered their children to the false idol, but they did it in his name and continued on observing Shabbat as if it was a righteous thing. Now, why would anyone do that? What is it that would possess a person's mind? What rationale, what reasoning can anyone come to think that it is a good thing, a righteous step even, to offer their child horrifically to an idol? Perhaps a clue is gained from Micah chapter 6 and verse number 7. Is Yahweh pleased with thousands of rams or 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my being? In the modern day application of this, we are certainly not, that I'm aware of, seeing idols that people place their infants or their children into their red molten arms to scream to death. But we are seeing people determine that for the sins of my being and the resulting child that is a nuisance and a problem for me, I'll just get rid of it. And tens of millions, think about that, multiple tens of millions, last estimate I heard over 60 million children have been lost to the abortion industry. Some of their deaths were no less horrific, even in their mother's womb, than being offered to Molech. Why does Yah have to tell us not to do this? Because if he didn't tell us to do this, we would do it all the more. The restrictions that he has placed upon this incredible, horrible situation is all that has barely restrained mankind, let alone the reports that leak out pertaining to, I don't know if I want to go here, but the super elite of the earth cannibalizing and drinking the blood of children, thinking that it keeps them young. I don't have to tell you that man is depraved. Man is so sick with sin, nothing is out of the question. Nothing is withheld from him. All the more, Yah is looking then for people who are Kedoshim, set apart ones, a different heart, a different mind, a different thinking, a different spirit. May we be such ones in the earth. May Yah grant to you a Shabbat that will infuse you with his rest, with his presence, with his spirit, with his word. Be joyful that Yah set you apart and you're not like the world around us. Shabbat Shalom, and we'll see you again next week.